Hi, everyone. I'm here with Elena Yunosov, and she's joining us today to meet me. She's got a fascinating background, and she's a very busy woman at 2024 comes to an end. We're here to talk about AI and governance and providence and marketing and research and paper presentations and tinkerers. We've got a lot to cover. But you're a fascinating person, and also you're a complete straight shooter, which I absolutely love. So, thank you for joining me,
Thank you.
and thank you for being a member of the site. We're going to be like at 600 members now, and I'm very proud of the community. It's marketers and agency presidents and media people and data analysts, and we've got a UX people. We have It's just an interesting community. So. Thank you for being on it. Let's start by giving us a little background on how you got started as professionally and with AI.
Sure. So I spent over a decade working in technology. My background is marketing communications. And landed uh, in AI through RBC Borealis, which is RBC's AI research and development division. And so that was fun because I got to work directly with researchers, with engineers, with business experts across different lines within the bank, take products to market that are being used by tens of millions of people, and really learn a lot about AI, its risks and challenges and downsides and upsides way before ChatGPT, which gave me a
Right.
really good grounding to understand and frame what is happening now with generative AI. So we'll forever be grateful for that. And so as part of that role, what landed with me was also responsible AI advocacy. So
Okay.
that was under marketing, and we did a ton of education on responsible AI within RBC. We did a platform called Respect AI through Borealis AI to talk about risks, challenges, did research, interviewed experts, released tutorials, had open source tooling that's supporting differential privacy and other um, research and technical implementations. So was really helpful to then take what I know and now launch Human Feedback Foundation, where I am now.
And yes, and it's amazing that those two, those worlds coalesce because, first of all, that was very early on for AI. So it's pre-gen AI. What was the technology you used way back before then, Elena? Was it like learning programs with when you'd have all these databases and try and get them to learn? Give us a little insight into what the AI was like back then.
Well, AI has a very, very long history,
Right.
and we can talk about definitions of that, but Borealis AI specifically is a center of excellence for deep learning within the bank. The bank has
Ah,
used some kind of AI since forever. We can consider simple tree models AI as well. And so it's to me, it's about definitions. Fundamentally, it's models that need tons of data, which they
right.
process through various architectures and then give you an output with different levels of accuracy. And so I really like the book called Prediction Machines because it's in the title. And that's by economists from U of T who are wonderful writers and made it a lot more accessible to, I'd say, an average person to understand how AI works, no matter the type of AI, really.
Right. Right. Well, and it's amazing then. And also you also, I mean, obviously, because it's a bank, you had all the concerns of using AI in marketing within a bank because you can't make mistakes, right? I mean, it's not the way a bank works.
So yeah, it's what's unique about RBC and AI and building models within the bank is that you are working with a regulated uh,
Right.
highly regulated system. And so you need to be testing your models, you need to be validating them. There is tons of compliance, there is all kinds of hoops to jump through for good reason to even access the
Right.
right data. And so it's not a trivial task. And I really admire the model that they built because they started as a research institute in 2016. That's before DeepMind began. And
Right.
invested in fundamental research and built amazing team of researchers. And then over time, when they had a lot of IP to commercialize, they grew an engineering team and product team and design team, and of course, marketing communications as well. And that took years, but it is a really good model. And now RBC Borealis has merged with RBC, so things are maybe slightly different. It only speaks to me about the success of that specific experiment and the
Right.
type of change that that was able to catalyze within a large system that it's now part of.
Yeah, and also that gave you, like you said, a remarkable insight into the issues with human, governance, privacy, regulation, all these societal impacts that are coming, and that's it's just a fascinating way to kind of jumpstart a career because you can see it happening in multiple tracks here. So let's we'll get caught up with today, but let's go back to your personal life. I think you mentioned this to me before, but you like to use AI to write songs. That's such an interesting aspect too of use.
Yeah, I really like it for creative work. Obviously, I use it for work. So
Right.
it's a fantastic assistant and it is great editor. I can do a lot more with AI than without. Very grateful for the timing because now that I run a nonprofit, I do need to be uh,
Yes.
cloned in some way, and I feel it's somewhat happened now. And that's a good thing for me because it really is empowering. Um, and it's interesting to also see how different companies look at AI and what use cases they pick, and also
Yeah.
just larger societal conversation we're all part of and how different brands show up. It's been, for a marketer, an amazing year to
Yeah.
to see all kinds of sides of the brands that you thought you knew, but now that AI has been dropped upon them, they behave in weird ways, I'd say.
Yes, I'm gonna forget the brand now. It's a TikTok channel from a cookie. I can't remember now. And it was, I don't know how much AI was involved. I'm sure it was. And I don't know any specific text to video, but they just, and now I'm drawing a blank as to what the brand is. It's like a candy or a cookie. And they just put out like 30, 40 TikToks a day, like just of hysterical psychedelic noises and images. And it wasn't, and the cookie was involved, or the candy was involved. I'll think about it, of course, after we're done. But I was just talking to Fab Dolan too, and talking about just the sheer just automation, especially in marketing, is not necessarily a good thing. Just more of the same is not necessarily the right thing to do, but it's a lot of testing for sure we're seeing with marketing. All right.
Yeah.
So I do
Yeah.
want to talk about I do want to talk about the paper club because I'm such a huge fan and I want to make sure we cover it. Now, you have a team. Is it part of Human Feedback Federation or is it a separate team?
So it's all part of Human Feedback Foundation.
Okay.
And the foundation runs meetups every month in collaboration with AI Thinkers. AI Thinkers is a global platform for AI ML builders.
Right.
Given the work we do, we really want to be best friends with engineers because we really are focused on the applied side of responsible
Yep.
AI, and how you treat human input and human feedback and human generated data in your models, and whether you even use it, and if not, why not, and if yes, then how it's all scalable or not, how diverse the value systems and ethics systems are. And we are anchored in open source, which is useful to have these
Of course.
conversations. because I don't know if we can tell OpenAI what to do, but in open source, there's maybe hope for diversity of views and opinions and
Right.
perspectives to be reflected. And so we run meetups every month, and we also run Paper Club on the AI Thinkers Global platform. So the meetups, the community for that in Toronto is about 1,300 people now. And
Wow.
those are monthly events. They're a lot of fun, and people come there and share demos, and we show up and we talk about human feedback and human input into AI and maybe new ways to build these systems on a monthly basis. And it also helps us find like-minded
Right.
people who are interested in taking these conversations further, which is really helpful. With Paper Club, the goal of that is really to have researchers talk to engineers more,
Yeah.
because there is so much more interesting work happening in research. And traditionally, as an engineer, you really didn't have to follow research all that much. It did not
Right.
have much impact on your day-to-day and your product roadmaps. But now, where research is moving so quickly, that
Right.
bridge is really helpful. And so we bring in researchers to talk about human feedback and moral stability of values, and in a technical, grounded discussion. And they walk us all through the research. And as you've been to many, many sessions, then there is a fun Q&A right after, which I think
Yeah.
is really great. No matter how technical you are, you get to
Yeah.
see topics from a perspective that you won't even find in the news. You get to hear from the source,
Right.
and you get to see reactions to what the researchers really have to say that really show you where maybe the cutting edge is of the day. What is the state of the art today of that discussion?
And I hadn't thought about it until then, but yes, talking to the engineers, it's so right because the research is moving so fast. The engineers don't have to talk to the research people if they did it 25 years ago. The fact, the quan is there. But yes, I found the paper presentations amazing because they're very diverse, obviously, in the topics, but the conversation is fascinating, the back and forth. And then depending upon the paper talking about, like you said, it's so eye-opening because it's so current. We're just learning these things at the time. The one that comes to mind is the one about the training of the models from the MIT folks in the New York, I think it was the New York Times. It was mesmerizing to me because, will will putting the content behind walls or private gardens and the training, and what does that mean, and who gets paid for, that whole, it's in the news, but not in any interesting detail, right? I found that fascinating. So, how do you get the researchers to how are they aware of this program?
So we just reach out is what we do, and
Yeah,
we've done it. It's been over a year now that we've run it, and we've had an amazing list of speakers. Truly, we've had researchers from OpenAI, from Google DeepMind, from Oxford, Yale, Harvard, Stanford, and that helps because first of all, many of them know each other, and of
right.
course, some people recommend papers and other presenters to us. It's a mini community. I consider them all very helpful, quote unquote, research council to the
Right.
foundation, and at best, and then helpful connections because they said yes, and that is valuable.
It is. I one of the other ones that springs to mind was the one from the Stanford legal scholars about hallucinations. And even if you're not a computer science or a research scientist, you can still using AI tools too to summarize and learn from these papers, even if you might not be familiar with all of the information involved, right? So
Yeah,
back
yeah.
to back to the Tinkerings meetup. We were talking about how, and it didn't occur to me until now again, but those engineers learn from each other when they're in those presentations too, I'm sure. What library did you use to develop this? That sort of thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're all really interactive, these presentations. And the format is very simple. We don't do panels, we don't do fireside chats. It's not pitches or decks, it's demos. And so people get a good chunk of the time is the Q&A. And so people
Right.
get to chat about the presentation. And of course, during the break, there's a lot of conversations after. And so, yeah, they learn from each other because we're all learning. It's a whole new way
Yeah.
to build that we're looking at. And that is why the community is so strong and it's so useful for people to come together in this way and hopefully be reminded that we're all humans building these
Yes.
tools for others, other humans to hopefully use. And that human angle, I don't know if you can really replicate that without the physical get together on a regular
Yeah.
basis. When we speak about community building and when we think of, oh, where will the next large companies or innovative companies come from? We really do need to celebrate the builders. And before we celebrate
Yes.
them, we need to actually get them in the room together with each other.
Yeah.
We've been over-indexed on decks and pitches for far too long.
Yeah. Yeah. And I say this when I'm speaking to when I'm speaking to students or when I'm speaking to corporate teams or something, that if you the real power of AI is what it gives. Our focus should be on the human side of it, not on what just the tools can do, how they can improve all of our lives and fix societal problems we've had for centuries. I mean, it sounds a little naive, but I think it's important to be optimistic that way because we can't just hand it over to corporate and the finance bros to help us here, and our governments are not nimble enough to move with us. So it takes regular people in regular communities, but smart people with the right idea, I think. And you should be commended for your work you're doing. Let's move to the association work. I know you're working with a number of like-minded organizations here in Canada.
Yeah, yeah. So we call ourselves a socio-technical nonprofit because AI is a socio-technical system. And so the technical work we've covered just now, it's the community building, it's the paper club. We also have a program with U of T where we work with students to educate them and mentor them on doing their first open source contribution and
Nice.
mentoring them through that process, which is, of course, amazing because they get to develop hands-on skills, contribute to open source, but most of all, feel agency over the future of technology, which is extremely important, and build uh, human-centric projects uh, as a default, which is something we're uh, advancing. And so on the social impact side, we work with other nonprofits because we believe nonprofit sector as a sector should have a say in the future of AI and how AI
Yeah.
technology develops. And to your point of solving societal problems, it is not necessarily clear where these incentives come from
Right.
sometimes. And it is usually some kind of combination of industry expertise, domain expertise, the right type of data, and it's it's not clear to me that the commercial incentives are enough. And
Right.
so DeepMind's work on AlphaFold is deeply inspiring, and the data set that they've used to win Nobel Prize for this work and do what they did is an open source data set that is firmly in the public domain. And so, to your point of closed walled gardens, it's a really tricky transition right now where I'm not quite clear if
Right.
we're positioning ourselves for more of that type of research and more of that type of invention and innovation. And of course, there's dangers too of automating people out of jobs, and then there's second, third order consequences. And of course, nonprofits have a lot of deep expertise and lots of data that is
Yeah.
directly tied to their missions. And so use cases for AI there stand a chance to be really impactful and help them to then mitigate maybe those second, third order risks, but also hopefully come and sit at the table and really
Yeah.
be a voice for human perspective and human in the loop governance and all of the things where we could see companies cut corners on it now because of the commercialization gold rush.
Yeah. Well, and they know those individual constituencies best, the not-for-profits who are working with those whatever the association is focused on. They know that community better than just a general corporate approach, which is always trying to sell something. So I think it's important, like you said, like AIGS and other organizations where working humans can help make sure that we do the right thing here as much as possible because our governments need the help. And I know you're working with the governmental organizations too. Yeah, it's wonderful. I love working at U of T. It's a special place, and I know there's just some wonderful, hardworking, brilliant people there on AI. All right. Well, what do you think about the current wave of tools? Now I got you here in a little review session. There's new versions of a lot of the models. Sora is out, but I personally found Sora a little disappointing. I tried to have an older, handsome white man in a cooking school with a diverse audience, and Elena, it was hilarious because the room was good, the students were good, the kitchen counter and the knife was good, but the knife replaced his actual hand. So there was no everything was hyper realistic except that his hand was literally the knife. So I don't know if we're ready for prime time there in Sora.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of videos you can see people posting about sort of not understanding physics and people playing cricket or aerobics continues to be challenging. We don't have so many extra fingers on our hands anymore, so that's nice, but our hands turning into knives, not so great. But I I mean, we keep seeing amazing breakthroughs. I mean, there's video games that are generated at the pixel level now where you don't need to code them anymore.
Right.
And that was really crazy to me. I never thought I'd see that. And that is fascinating, what that enables. The kind of generation on the fly of environment and world building and gaming, I think
Yeah.
it really has changed forever. I don't know what that means for the future of coding, quite frankly, is in that context either. So really following closely creative tools. And at the Human Feedback Foundation, we actually have done an arts show, believe it or not, in the fall with support from the City of Toronto and TMU. It was part of the Future Makers Festival. We took over
Wow.
the building and distillery district and showed work of local and Toronto AI artists. And it's astounding what people can do with
Yeah.
AI today. And I love that artists are actively exploring AI in ways that maybe pushes imagination and pushes things to the limit and also makes you think and makes you feel and maybe put your fears or stigma aside because you have direct experience with technology that I think supersedes rational mind in ways that are
Right.
hard to explain. And artists are amazing explorers, and so we're happy to be able to support that kind of work.
Well, and it gets back to the human input and the human use of these tools. It's fascinating. I think when I first got my Midjourney account, I would just let it run on my iMac just to watch people's work because it was so diverse and fascinating. And then you can read the prompts and learn as you go. So yeah, it is a world. It's an exciting time to be in the world. And yes, to your point, I saw the demo of someone writing a Pong game with just a line of just a verbal prompt the other day. And I thought the same thing. Coding has now become like an agent-driven world. And so I'm not going to put you on the spot here, but what do you think we can look forward to in 2025? We're only a few weeks away.
Oh gosh, anyone's guess, really. On the coding side, I just came back from London, where I was speaking at Prolificon. Prolific is our partner organization
Okay.
in the UK, and we went and did AI Thinkers London together.
Oh,
And so interesting to see perspectives on the future of coding specifically. There were a lot of demos that are about that. and how much of that will be prompt driven or agents driven,
Right.
or like I said, in gaming context, just generated at the pixel level with no code whatsoever, or how much of and what are you building really if the general assembly is really almost solved today, and who are you building these tools for? It's affecting how people build. It is such interesting conversation to follow, because it will really start affecting VCs and how VCs invest and what you need to raise
Right.
money for, even if you don't need large teams. And if you are a founder, whereas before I know how people build, if you need something to be in several different languages, to have integrations in place for it to be used widely by the developer community, you would hire experts in Python and experts in Rust, and uh, have them do this. Now you don't need to know Python, and you can
Right.
generate a program, and maybe you're a Java programmer, but so you can understand enough and tell it what to do, and it will do it, and then it will compile it for you. And that is like us feeling more empowered as creators, as writers,
Right.
or as artists. It's the same on the coding side, and what developers are able to do with smaller teams, far fewer resources,
Right.
obviously pretty high costs to access these tools. Now the price tags are climbing up. There will always be scarcity around compute. So I have big questions for 2025 around compute, and
Right.
who will hog that, or make that available, or decentralize it, or what, because I don't know if we'll look at if we'll really get to a place where there is scarcity around data, maybe different types of data, uh,
Hmm.
maybe different types of licensing. There will always be lots and lots of data. Architectures might evolve. How we work with that data might evolve, but the scarcity around compute is a physical limit, which I'm
Right.
very curious how, especially with tariffs and global trade and all of these, physical limitations that are being thrown on into the industry, where we're maybe not used to that environment and technology, haven't had to for
No, yeah, I mean, in the political landscape, and 2025 is going to be a year of change one way or another. And yes, it's hard to see how it's hard to put it all into scope. At your level, it's one thing to see so many pieces, but it's challenging and it's scary. That's why we built this community too, is like we need to get people talking about uh, how AI is going to impact their lives if they're anxious or afraid to get started or afraid to learn more. So just having these conversations is important. Well, listen, this has been wonderful. And we have you in crystal clear. We're going to end where we know it's going to end. Elena Yunosov, what is the best sandwich?
So grilled cheese, and grilled cheese in the middle and on the top, just this massive multi-story sandwich. It
No,
just sounds like a really good idea. I saw one just last week. Never thought of putting cheese in two places. So I guess we can never stop being creative, no matter what we do. And for AI, to your point of people experiencing fear and change, I am not technical. My background is marketing communications.
right.
Uh, we've had demo presenters who come from business background, construction background, you name it. And
Yeah,
so it's there's nothing in the tools, and the tools will help you, if anything, to learn
right.
them. You can talk to them, they will
Yeah,
help tremendously. And so that is even a barrier that's been brought down quite substantially. Before, you needed books or you needed expert to
right.
help navigate this. You really can get quite far just by interacting with these tools directly, like ChatGPT and others, multimodal way even, and they will
Yeah,
clarify and answer questions for you. But what we really hope to see more of is good, honest tinkering. It's why we are such,
yeah,
big collaborators with AI Thinkers community, because until you have that firsthand expertise, you won't develop the gut sense of what the limits are and
Right.
what the opportunities are. And so we really encourage that. And if people do that, please go to our meetups, submit a demo, come to
Yeah.
the paper club, show it off, and listen to others who are doing the same, because you're certainly not alone in this journey. And then also please consider building with the human-centric approach,
Right.
where you preserve privacy, where you respect diversity of opinions, values, and views, and help engineers and business experts, etc., just steer this in a direction that is positive for society overall.
Yeah,
Because
and to your point, that's also where the use cases will bubble up that can get traction that we might not think of. You know, that's a fascinating place to start there. I know you have support from Accenture too. Brett Shaders is a friend of ours too here. So it's nice to see a community of people concerned, and we've had some great meet me's here. So thank you so much for joining me.
thank
We'll put this up in the next couple of days. Are you staying in town for Christmas and the holidays?
well, there'll be some road trips in our
Yeah.
future. There's been lots of traveling this year, which has been really nice. And
Yeah.
so I think I actually look forward to that break, as I'm sure you are as well.
Yeah.
It's been quite the year.
I
It's
know.
But I'm also looking forward to even later this week to wind things down
Yeah.
a bit.
Here we are ending the week and it's 12 days of product launches from OpenAI to just give, you know what I mean? There's always something, but it's a fascinating time. All right. Thank you so much for Elena for spending this time with us and have a great 2025.
Thank you. Same to you, Stephen. Take care. Bye.
Bye.